Good afternoon, everyone. This is a very big stage. I feel like I have to move around. I apologize in advance. I do not speak Turkish, so I will try to speak slowly. I've lived in the UK for over 2 years, and I haven't mastered the proper English yet, so there's probably no hope of me picking up Turkish. I'm very excited to be here today. And just before we get started, and it's a little bit difficult to see from up here, but how many have heard of HotelTonight or aware of HotelTonight, know anything about HotelTonight? Okay, a fair number of people. So we'll start there. I'll just give a very quick introduction about who HotelTonight is and why am I up here talking. What basis do I have? Then just go through some mobile trends and some data about the mobile sort of revolution, as I like to call it. Then talk about some key areas there, app versus mobile web, and then really kind of get to the meat of the presentation, which is some best practices about mobile. So let's jump right in. So HotelTonight was a pioneer in the space. We were the first hotel booking system that was designed entirely from the ground up for mobile. We do not have a website. We skipped over that entire phase and really were a disruptor in a very mature industry. Obviously, hotel bookings have been around for a long time, and there are many incumbents in this space, but came in and really saw the future of mobile and built and designed a new way for customers and hotels to kind of come together to sell last-minute rooms. So we are a same-day booker. We really focus on that last-minute demand, which is where we're seeing a lot of the hotel bookings on mobile come from. The company is just shy of 4 years old. We're a US-based company. I opened our European operations a little over 2 years ago. We are VC-backed, so we have about 80 million US in funding, so some money to spend. And we have about 11 million downloads worldwide. So a lot of our growth has come through referrals, people spreading the word. It's been a very different strategy from a web strategy. Why mobile? So 4 years ago, when our founders sat down and thought about this business, it really came out of a need base. They were traveling around, and they realized that when you went to book a hotel room, there were plenty of options via the online experience or your laptop, but it wasn't always convenient to pull out your laptop, try to find a Wi-Fi signal, and then book a hotel room. And when you looked at the experience on your smartphone, it was pretty horrific. There just were not a lot of options. Websites, it was a lot of mobile web that wasn't optimized, and the experience was quite cumbersome. We also saw that there's this growth, and the reason we decided to skip over the web altogether was we had seen what had happened in the internet and how quickly that business grew. And what was happening in mobile was like the internet on crack. I mean, it was just, it's so much faster, the adoption rate, the penetration rate. The fact that smartphones represent almost 40% of the global mobile market. And today, as of here we are in 2004, there are more people with smartphones than own a PC. Some really amazing facts and figures about just the overall adoption rate and how quickly mobile was taking hold. Then when you think about usage, I think that from a publisher standpoint or as a business, this is also really exciting, is that mobile usage is all incremental. So it's not that necessarily that business is shifting from searching on a desktop to a mobile device, but I think this probably makes sense. Most of us, I'm guessing most of you have your mobile device on you right now, and you carry that thing with you everywhere. There are some stats that 3 in 4 people sleep with their phone, and that 2 out of 3 people would rather have their smartphone than eat lunch. I mean, it's crazy how just we have become so attached to these. People are using their smartphones when they're in the queue at a food shopping place or a store. They're using it when they're commuting. They're using it right now in conferences when they don't want to listen to the boring speaker on stage. So it's 100% incremental, and it's really sort of increasing and accelerating the overall search functionality. And then there's a lot of discussion about what do we do? Okay, I know I need to have some sort of mobile strategy. There's this mobile app versus responsive web, because obviously apps are quite costly. And there's been a lot of discussion, and I think recently there's been some really compelling data that says mobile apps, 86% of time spent on mobile is on a mobile app versus mobile web. In travel, which is obviously what we care about, travel apps are used almost 6 times per month on average. And users spend more. So we see users spend more time and they spend more money. So there's a really compelling case to move forward into the app world. But the problem is it comes with some challenges. So mobile apps, unlike the e-commerce world or even mobile web, it's a very different landscape. You can't just go and buy customers. It's really more of a traditional, you have to earn business and earn your customers through superior product, superior design, really streamlined interface, and making it something that people want to talk about and people want to share. And the reason is because competition is intense. In the e-commerce world, you have Google is probably the cornerstone of your strategy. In the mobile app space, this is your world. It's the Google Play Store and the iTunes Store. And there's well over 1 million. They're saying now it's up to 1.2 million apps in each store. And you can't just go ahead and buy keywords and move yourself up the ranking. The way that you move up is by people downloading it, people commenting on it. There's a lot of more of just a very strong customer sentiment that has to go behind it. And additionally, once you actually get someone to download your app, there's no guarantee that they're going to keep it. Again, you're dealing with a very small space, and customers are quite fickle. So you can see here, there's about, on average, there's about 26 apps on average, sort of worldwide, is what most people have on their phone. I'm guessing this room we're probably a little higher, bringing up that average. But anywhere from a half to a third aren't used. So it's you're only using a fraction of them on a regular basis. Additionally, almost 30% of apps are downloaded once and then deleted. Downloaded, used once, and then deleted. So really keeping customers coming back and keeping them engaged is quite difficult. This to me, I think, is sort of the key. This is the money slide. These are the questions that any business, as you're defining your mobile strategy, are super important to answer. What is the goal of the business? Like, what are you trying to achieve from your mobile strategy? Is it, in the case of the hotel business, there's a lot of argument that hotels should not be going and building out apps for booking capabilities, but rather doing it to increase loyalty. What problem are you solving? And this isn't the problem when you're sitting around your boardroom and the problem that your business has, but how are you fixing a customer's life? How are you making the customer's life easier? Who's your audience? Are you building it for someone who's going to be a loyal user? And this is sort of the toothbrush indicator, we say. Like, is it something that they're going to be using every single day, or is it something that they're going to be using on a need basis, and maybe sort of, while they're at this conference, you're using it all day? But I'm guessing probably many of you will not, necessarily go back and use the Webrazzi app in a couple weeks. And then how much are you going to invest? And this is not just money, but it's also resources. It's a nascent industry. Technology is changing really quickly, and making sure that you're constantly evolving and constantly changing and keeping up is super important. So just quickly, because I know we are short on time, some best practices and how to avoid the pitfalls. There was a survey done, and the biggest complaints that people had were about slow load times, complicated search, and the other issues here. And so just some tips that we've learned. One was, slow load times have to do a lot with just trying to do too much. Your web experience is not a miniature version of a website. It's not supposed to be all things to all people. in our opinion, but really focusing on that one problem. What is the most common use case? Like, what is the thing that you want people to do? And make it faster and easier for them to do it. In the case we saw in the last presentation, that Booking.com is a huge, huge player. They have come out with a Tonight app as well. One of the key differentiators is that on the Tonight app, it takes 52 taps to make a booking. On HotelTonight, it takes 3 taps and a swipe. So it was really about focusing and really sort of driving home to make things faster and easier for the customers. Next one is making it easy. So sacrificing choice for simplicity. This is a place where customers are willing to give up a little bit in order to get something done much more quickly. If you look at Hotwire as an example, if you go to their web interface, you can book a car, you can book a flight, you can book a hotel, but they took the decision to design an app that was just focused on hotel, as they felt it was the most common and the best use case. Poor navigation. So again, in our case, this is about eliminating hurdles. This is about making the process as quickly as possible. The way that we were able to cut out, almost 40 steps from a process that the big guys had created was by making some decisions on behalf of the customer. So for example, we do a curated display. We don't show every property, but we make sure that we're showing the absolute best properties and the best prices in every market. And then we make it super fast for them to get in and get out. On HotelTonight, you're not able to choose how many people that you have, and we default to tonight. So we've sort of taken some liberties, but in the end, that removes a lot of the decisions and makes it easier for the customer. And last but not least, mobile optimization, and this is something that is now kind of into the game. Again, I think with the app experience versus mobile web, another big selling point to mobile apps is just the flexibility that it provides and the amount of capabilities that they have. So things like geolocation, being able to actually, when someone's on their phone, you know exactly where they are, and all of our results are going to be within close proximity because we know that location is the biggest driver to a decision. Targeting, you're not able, with an email, you can target to an IP address, you can target to an email address, but here you actually know exactly where people are standing. You know exactly what their behavior is, what apps they're looking on, what they've liked on Facebook, and you're able to really kind of get closer to that one-to-one experience. Socially enabled. This is a device that not only has your email, but it has your telephone, it has your social networks, it has everything else. So creating opportunities for people to share with their friends and really kind of extend your reach is super important. And Wi-Fi. There's a lot of cases where people are you have this opportunity to use the device to store things locally to make sure that things are loading more quickly. So these are all things that are, I think, baseline at this stage and where we are in mobile that if you're not doing them, you might as well just go ahead and build a website. So that's all I have today, and I think now we can go to lunch. Thank you very much.